Hi everyone, welcome back to another design tutorial in Adobe XD, and today we'll be designing this cool dashboard design for a banking web app. And this dashboard has some clean colors. As you can see, all my features that I want inside the banking web app are on the left. There's a menu which will be able to open through this button, this burger icon. So without further ado, let's just get started. So I want a 1920 by 1080 artboard, so we will do that. Go down here, and as you can see, 1920 web artboard. We're gonna name this dashboard. Just a simple name, just to simplify everything. And first of all, without doing anything else, we need to fix the layout. As you can see, I've already set everything up. 2 columns, 40 pixels wide, and there should be only 2 down here as well. So as you can see, everything is now set up. All I want to do is start making the dashboard. So to make the dashboard, I want to give this a background of F7, F7, F7. Perfect. Just a plain gray background, as you can see. And now I want to give the first the menu. Let's quickly make the menu and all the feature icons. As you can see, I'll make a square which will be 80 by 80 pixels in size. And I want to remove the borders. Give this a shadow of 12 by 24, so 12 on the y-axis and 24 on the blur, and about 5% opacity. Perfect. And give this a border radius of 20 pixels. Perfect. So this is one of those rounded rectangles right here. And now that I've created this, I've already saved most of my icons down here on the left. I will be giving the Adobe XD file down in the description to download, so go ahead and download it for free. And I've already saved this as a symbol, so I'll delete this and I'll place it right here. I want this to be about 40 pixels from the top, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. And I've also saved all these icons right here, so we don't have to create individual icons. I'll quickly place everything, and I'll get down to explaining everything as well. Okay, so now I have everything placed. Now you might be wondering, why have I placed the burger away from all of these? Because the burger is a slightly different icon right here. We want this to be for a menu. All of these are features. So in UX, if you study UX theory, you'll know everything that is placed close to each other will look similar to each other often. So that is why I've given them this feel, and that is why all of these are colored as well. And on selecting, the background becomes the color of the icon, which is in this case green, and in this case blue. So that is how I am approaching this, and all these icons are about 50% in opacity, so make sure these are slightly less opaque than the one which is highlighted. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to start creating the dashboard. That's what everybody is here for. First of all, I want to create a triangle. So for that, let's create a quick square, so as to say. And let's give this a 500 by 500 pixel in size. That's perfect. That's a perfect square. And I'll quickly use a plugin to make sure it's a triangle. So I'll say convert shape, convert to triangle, and as you can see, it's a triangle. An equilateral triangle, so we'll change this into a 90-degree triangle right here. Just make sure you bring it right about here. Perfect. And I'm going to rotate it now, just so that I have everything here. I'll make this slightly less broad. Perfect. And I want another triangle. Just hold Option and copy this over, and I'll rotate it again about 360 degrees. And I want to place it right in line with this, so about same, but I'll place it 20 pixels from the left triangle, so 1, 2. Perfect. I'll remove both of these borders. Perfect. And I'll give them the same shadow, which is about 12 and 24. And 5% is perfect for this project. So 5% opacity is great. Perfect. Now start writing the text inside this. So I want to say balance, and balance should be a smaller text. So I've already saved the character styles here. So I'll click on this, the bottom one, which is 18 points. And Cerebri Sans, we'll change it from semi-bold to a regular. Perfect. And let me place it right here just for now. And I'll hold Option and copy this over. And I'll say $12,000 decimal as well, just to showcase that we can place decimal as well. And I want this to be about 32 pixels, just like that. And obviously I don't want it to be a green, so I want this to be this gray that I've already saved. Perfect. And below this I'll just group both of these together. And below this I want another text about 10 pixels from the top right here. I want effective balance, which should be effective balance, which can be the same, or you can show it slightly different. So $12,200, something like that should be good enough. And again, this has to be slightly less, smaller. So I'll make sure this is 24 pixels now, just to make sure that this is different from the main balance. Perfect. Now I want something below this, which is our last transaction. Okay, so for last transaction, I'll copy this over again and I'll say last transaction. And below this, I want something small, maybe $60 or $50, something like that. And I also want to place an arrow. So as you can see, I have $50 now, and I have copied a HTML arrow. Since Adobe XD uses Unicode, we can place any HTML based ASCII values inside here as well. So Command V to copy that over, and that's the arrow we want. So to depict that this is, somebody sent us money, we want to make sure it's rising. So last transaction should be green in color. So it shows that it's like it's a positive value. And I'll just copy this over again, and I'll say 10 pixels from the top. And I want to say here, what do I want to say? Credit? I don't know. And I want an uncleared section here as well, just so I know if I have any uncleared pending stuff as well. So I want this to be $100. That's quite a huge sum, and I want this to be red since it's a negative sign. Perfect. That's all the information that we wanted here. And now we want to place a plus button here, just to make sure that we give the user an option to add more balance. We can give a further pop-up menu, so as to say, to make sure that the user has more options. So this plus will go in between here, slightly below the uncleared, so about 10 pixels, about 20 pixels from uncleared, and slightly in the middle right here. So that is pretty much what we require here. And as you can see, I've given this button a blue block shadow as well, just to give it that pop, so as to say. And now I want to create a level for my target balance. So if you want to, in a bank application, you often have a target that you want to set, and you want the user to be able to see how much of that target has been achieved. So we'll just copy this triangle over. We'll remove the shadow, maybe just change the color right for right now, and I'll scale this down a little bit, just a little bit. And I want to place it right here. Perfect. Just maybe place it in the center of this triangle, just to visually, it doesn't have to be geometrically correct. And I'll give this a slight gray as well. maybe slightly lighter than what we have here, perfect. And I'll just copy this over again. I'll change the color to something that I can see, and I want to place levels here, so I'll create a rectangle which will be green again, remove the border, give this a slight tilt, just like that, and place it right here. Just make sure that it's behind this triangle, perfect, and make sure this is about 60% in opacity, and I'll copy this over and create one more just above this. Make sure it is slightly above this, perfect, and another third one which will be slightly above the second one here, perfect. I'll group these together, and I'll select both the triangle and the rectangles, and I'll say Command Shift M to mask it over, just like that. That looks kind of like a pretty level indicator right here, and I will place it inside this triangle right here. Make sure it's perfectly placed, and I'll group it right here. So this is almost 50% of the entire triangle, so a little less maybe. So I'll create another text which will say how much my goal is there. So $560 out of $650, perfect. And I want this to be again 32, but I want this to be white, just so that it covers right here, perfect. 32 might be a little large, but we live large, baby. So we have 560 by 650, and above this I want another text which says target, and I want this to be much smaller in size and regular font width, and again I want this to be right above here and no distance and aligned perfectly, and I want this to be white as well. That's perfect. Now that is the level and that is the indicator, and we have a plus icon to show us more options for this area as well. So I'll group this first of all because that part is finito. The next section that I will create will be the statistics, and I want this to be another rectangle which fits the entire area perfectly, and I want this to be 40 pixels, about 40 pixels from this box. Make sure it's 40, and I'll adjust the size of the rectangle to place it inside this layout. I'll remove the border and give it the same shadow that we've been giving, 12 by 24 and 5%. So we'll keep it the same, keep the shadows consistent. Now just like we have balance as a title here, I want it to be here as well, but I'll name it as statistics right here. So statistics, I hope I'm spelling that right, and I want this to be purple in color, perfect. And I want this to be semi-bold, perfect. Now below this we will be creating the statistics section, but we will first lock everything here down. Say Command L to lock everything so that we don't move anything. Now I want to create a basic graph, so I'm just going to randomly, roughly draw a graph here. Nothing too specific, just a simple graph which can showcase how much money we have or we've had in the past 7 days, or 1 week or 1 month, whatever. Just a plain simple graph, nothing too fancy, just a little like a little roller coaster. Perfect, and we'll end it at there. This graph is pretty okay. I want this to be about 4 pixels, maybe 2 pixels in size, the border, and I want the border to be the purple because we're going with the purple here as well. So that is fine. I want this to have a little bit of depth, so about 6 and 12 pixels, and I want this to be the same purple. I'll give this a 50% opacity. 25 will do best. Perfect. And now what I want are circles which will indicate certain points on the statistics section. So the circles will be 20 by 20. So make sure that's the size, and I want this to have no border and purple color fill. Perfect. And I'll give this a slight shadow as well. Since it's the starting, I'll give this a purple shadow, same 25%. And right now I don't want this to be lifted because I'll tell you why later on. But 3:6 is fine right now. I will make sure it's in the center somehow, and I will hold Option and copy this over to another section. Perfect. And I'll just continue doing this for all sections and I'll come back to you guys. Okay, so now coming back to this graph, I've created everything and I've pointed out everything as well. Okay, so I've leveled everything out and I've created these indicators as well. And I want one of these lines to be purple right here. I want it to be 100% opacity. Just so everybody knows this has been selected. This is the primary section. So again, I want this shadow to be 12:24 because it's sort of expanded. Maybe 12:12 will do better in this case. Perfect. It seems as if it's risen above all of these. And I want this to be dollar, I don't know, 24,000. So I was rich back then. Yeah, so just to indicate that this has been selected and this is the value at that particular time. And for the time, I can always put these labels above saying when it was. So March 1 maybe, I don't know. And 12 pixels, and I can make this a regular just to make sure it's slightly separated. And you can have this right here, and you can have these all over here, but that's up to you. How you want to use this graph is all up to you. And to make sure that you can view more of these graphs, we'll be placing a quick button right here at the bottom right, indicating that we can, if you want to, view more options for these. So again, 20 pixels border radius. Remove the border and make sure this is purple. That's about it, and we'll place the text saying how about see more. Perfect. And I want this to be white so that you can see this, and semi bold, about 24 pixels in size. Perfect. So you have a little button which says see more here. 24 is slightly big. I'll reduce it to 18, and perfect. And just group this button together. So you have a see more button as well, and you can make this graph more complex. You can add more options down here. It's all up to you, but this is the basic graph you can work on. Now we want to create all the statistics, all the transaction details below this. So after statistics, we want that the user can view all his latest transactions on this overview page. So I'll take this statistics, I'll unlock it by saying Command L, and I'll say Option and hold it and bring it right here. And rather than saying statistics, I'll say transactions. And you can give it a subheading saying transactions last 7 days. I guess you can do that, but I'm not doing anything right here. So for that, I will create to indicate the dates on which we've made the transaction. I'll make this box, and I'll say 60:60 pixels. Perfect. And I'll remove the borders, give it 20 pixels of border radius, and I'll make this a green. So green for good transactions, positive transactions, and red for transactions which have been debited from our account. So that is how it'll go. And inside this, I'll say 1st March, so 1. And below that, I'll say March. Okay, so I've placed this 1, and below this, I'll copy this over and say March. I want March to be much smaller, so regular and 12 pixels, maybe 16 pixels will do better. I'm kind of breaking a rule here of not having more than 2 or 3 font sizes, but everything's fair in love and YouTube. So okay, so I'll bring this in the middle and I'll group this out. Perfect. And since the date has been set, we want a box where we'll showcase our transaction details. So I want this rectangle here and remove the border and give it 20 pixels of border radius. Perfect. I don't want it to have any shadows because nothing here is actionable. It's just plain text. And I'll start by saying how much money has gone from our account or is coming. So $50, and make this green because we want to indicate a positive value. So green for that. We want 20 pixels from the left of this box, and the 50 should be semi-bold. Perfect. And I'll hold Option and I'll copy this over, and I'll say reference number or check number, whatever you want to call it, and I'll make this a regular and give this a gray color, and reference number, and again this text should be, the above text here should be about 18 pixels, and the smaller one can be 16. So we've got this, and I want this to be in the middle. Perfect. Reference number, we'll just give any random reference number, 1 2 3 4 5. Perfect. And I'll just elongate this box, make sure it's wide enough, and I want another value which will showcase what vendor has given us this money. So here we'll say PayPal. So we've received this money through PayPal. So I'll give this a blue color, just a neutral blue color, and here I'll say client ID, so the person who sent it, or PayPal's ID, so a DB, I don't know, 1 2 3, I don't know, anything. This is just dummy text, so that is what I'm using, and I'll just place this slightly to the right, and I want a small line to separate these, so like a horizontal rule but a vertical rule, so as to say, and I'll give this a 25% opacity. Perfect. That is almost perfect, and place it in the middle of both of these. Perfect. And I'll reduce the width of this. Got it. And I'll group everything right here. So we'll just randomly pick and then horizontally place everything. So if you want these to be bigger, you can make sure these are bigger, and you can have a less right here, but I want to have more, so I'll have more. And okay, so in either case I can't have more of these. Basically what I can do is either put transactions on the left, start it from the left and make sure everything is going, or I can make sure there's space for an ad, but I'll skip that because my main focus is for the user to have more data on one screen. So perfect. I'll just place everything perfectly, and we'll just copy these out, and as you can see, all the now we have all the transactions right here. So there you go. That is a basic dashboard design. I've used a couple of unique ideas. Everything here, transactions here are a little bigger because I've gone for that, and I've also put in information right here, so you can either give information or place everything at the top here. If you like the video, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and also hit that bell icon so that you get my videos first, and go ahead and like this video as well, because that really helps me out as well, and comment down below what do you want to see next. See you in the next video. God bless.